Hi guys, I'm Holly.
I'm Sally.
And I'm Hayden, and today we're going to be talking about all the different ways food is presented in our society. So, first off, why do we eat?
Okay, so the idea of food has become a reason for social gathering, for friendship, and for starting a new relationship, as well as a staple in many social, religious, and cultural events. It can even be viewed as a comfort in everyday life. How did something so basic that stems from our need to survive grow to hold such a strong place in present-day society? So sharing a meal with another person is commonplace in all of our lives. Whether we're at work, or we're at home, at school, or even just a day off, we go so far as to seek out friends and family to join in our daily meals. It's comforting to have people with you when you eat. And so eating alone sometimes even seems taboo or lame, or we tend to feel bad for people that we see eating alone, or we look down on them if they're alone at a restaurant. But no matter the situation, it's interesting to point out how insecure people feel when they're forced to eat a meal by themselves. I know that I feel insecure if I get stuck in the dining hall or I have to finish my dinner by myself. Whether or not people are actually staring at me, I feel like society looks down on me when I eat alone. When did a daily practice come to hold so many stigma and rules and regulations? On top of wanting to share a meal with someone, when eating in public or when eating in a public setting, we have to follow many guidelines, like put your napkin in your lap, your fork goes on your left, your knife goes on the right. All of these are social constructs that we've set up around eating meals. Furthermore, when considering sharing a meal with others, it's important to note the different levels of intimacy and bond shared when it comes to the situation you're eating the meal in. So quite a different setting from like a casual lunch. Let's take taking part in communion at church. So in many religions, it's customary to partake in communion every Sunday. We break bread, we drink wine, and this all symbolizes the body and the blood of Christ at the Last Supper. And this last meal is a huge concept in many religions. While it can be broken down to just another meal, it symbolizes something much bigger. Many people today share a quiet moment at communion with a large community, and that's meant to honor that religious figure and symbolize a meal that religious figure partook in many years before. So, even another contrasting setting from religion and a casual lunch is a wedding or a funeral. Both of these events tend to be large family gatherings in celebration of life, mourning a death, or in celebration of a growing family. Whatever the occasion is, there's normally a meal shared by the family and the friends attending. It's become a tradition to eat a meal as a symbol of these celebrations and to bring people together at these events. It's fascinating how a behavior that began purely as something that nourishes our bodies and we use as a survival, it's grown to hold so many purposes today. So whether it be to foster a relationship, to honor an event or a mentor, to celebrate marriage, symbolize life, or merely just to take your lunch break, eating is the center of all of our daily behaviors, and it's the building block around which we schedule all of our life.
So next we'll consider the term authentic food means in America.
Authentic food is often advertised in America. As Americans, we love to eat cultural foods that aren't from our culture, but often the expectations we have for them rarely match up with what is served. When we talk to our friends about getting Chinese food, I doubt we were all thinking about traditional Chinese food. What we really want is some bourbon chicken from the mall, or some orange chicken made without oranges. We never truly think about the serious, authentic side of things, we just think about our Americanized version of the food. Examples of this are restaurants like Qdoba, Fazoli's, and Panda Express. Why is it that we always refer to these places by their place of origin, like Mexican grill, Italian food, and Chinese food, when they are never authentic? These places are all Americanized, but for some reason we still refer to them as authentic places. We may know that it's not very authentic, but that doesn't stop us from calling Fazoli's fast, fresh Italian. Here's a stretch, but even think about Taco Bell. They serve tacos and many other amazing dishes like nachos and chalupas, and we usually love them. But what happens when we go to an authentic Mexican restaurant? Suddenly, tacos and nachos aren't the main dishes, and sometimes people can't handle that. All we ever want are some traditional tacos, and because of that, we often miss out on some great traditional food. Because of this mindset, we don't ever really know what we are getting into when we try new authentic restaurants. We may go to a place expecting an Americanized version of food, then be served an authentic version of the food. Our view of American food and our culture has greatly affected how we view other cultural foods in our society.
So lastly, let's talk about how food is presented in different cultures.
So we're mainly focusing on how different food and eating habits demonstrate different cultural identities. So for example, in Spain, people tend to have a more delayed schedule for meals. And in Mexico as well, people have a delayed meal schedule. And especially their dinner, they tend to have their dinner around 9 p.m. or later than 9. Whereas in US or other countries, we tend to have our dinner around 6 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. In Britain, afternoon tea and high tea is a big part of their culture, and it originated from 19th century. However, there's a major difference between high tea and afternoon tea. Afternoon tea is the term for upper level class, and it's always served with cakes and tea, and it's served on low and comfortable seats, and it's always served around 4 p.m. in the afternoon. However, high tea is the term for lower working class. It's always served after 6 p.m. Around 7, and it's always served with some other dishes and strong tea, because the working class had to wait until all the work is done and get their tea. So it's basically referring to their supper, and it's always served on a table and chairs with high back, so it's called high tea. And in Hong Kong and some other southern parts of China, they have the habit of having afternoon tea. It started from Hong Kong, and I believe Hong Kong is influenced by British culture because it was colonized by Britain for a long time.
Food is the product of regional culture. Regional culture is the soil of local food. Through extracting the cultural elements which can most represent the local characteristics, it formed the excellent settlement that treat people as the core of the culture. From people's experience and identification of food, along with the long time inheriting and developing, it becomes the most important way to spread delicious food all over the world. Products are regionally different. The regional food culture includes people's understanding of natural environment, the way of life, and the relationship between food and life. The development speed of diet culture is slow, since people have a strong attachment to the traditional diet culture and eating habits. We should love life, love food, share life and share food. Because we have a common desire for eating, we should make our best efforts to make the concept of diet culture be widely accepted by the world. Make food become world's best treasure.
Want you back.